Vladimir Lenin, founder of the Bolshevik Party, which was a social democrat party, organizer of the October Revolution. It was the second revolution to take place. He was the first leader of the Soviet Union, a former federation of communist republics. Lenin was a devoted follower of Marxism. This meant he wanted Russia by socialist order and classless society, and he believed this would only happen if he acts upon it fast and starts a communist revolution, thus rapidly spreading around the world. Nicholas II. Nicholas was the last Tsar of Russia under the Romanov rule. Nicholas had handled Russia's role in World War I and the Bloody Sunday issue poorly. This then led to his abdication and execution. His form of government was monarchy. World War I. In 1914, World War I had taken place, and Russia was at war with Germany. The Russian army was formed by forcing working class and peasant men to join. They were not equipped to fight. Over the next few years, 2 million soldiers had died and 5 million wounded. People blamed the Tsar for entering the war and losing battles. This meaning Russia suffered from low wages, poor housing, and poverty. They also had no alliance with Germany to trade. These workers then started calling themselves Soviets. The people were not content and ready to revolt. They just needed a good reason and a strong leader. Yet the Tsar liked the traditional ways, until Bloody Sunday had occurred. And this led to the provisional government. The February Revolution had taken place in 1917, when the riots and strikes over the shortage of food in the Petrograd. Most Russians had lost faith in the leadership of the Tsarist regime. The government was uncontrolled. Nicholas II had repeatedly gotten rid of the Duma, and the Russian economy remained backwards. But one of the immediate causes of the February Revolution was Russia's disastrous involvement in World War I. Like mentioned before, Imperial Russia was no match for industrialized Germany. It was a costly war effort, and people wanted to overthrow the Tsar. This included some of the Russian soldiers who had survived World War I. On March 8th, people took to the streets of the Russian capital, supported by 90,000 workers on strike, and they refused to leave the streets. By March 11th, troops of the Petrograd army garrison were called to put an end to the uprising. It required open fire, killing demonstrators, yet they still stayed. And armies became weaker and gave up. The Russian army became frustrated at the Petrograd and unexpectedly turned their support to the demonstrators. The imperial government was forced to resign, and 3 days later, Nicholas II formally abdicated his throne. During the summer of 1917, Lenin made several attempts to invoke another revolution, the likes in which had taken place in the February one. He wanted to overthrow the provisional government. The October Revolution, also known as the Bolshevik Revolution, overturned the interim provisional government, the Duma, and established the Soviet Union. This revolution was an intentional event put together by a small group of people. The Bolsheviks, who opposed provisional government, led the coup. They had very little support when they began serious efforts, yet over a few months, the popular base was much larger. They had built up a majority of support within the Petrograd and urban centers. Yet those once royal guards for the Tsar had stayed loyal and opposed Bolsheviks and the democratic ruling system. The Bolsheviks soon realized they could not maintain power without sharing power with other parties, this compromising their principles, and they gave up. The aftermath. Shortly after the October Revolution, the Russian Civil War broke out between the communists and the anti-Bolsheviks. This was the group who were loyal to Nicholas II and fought for what was right.